learning is at its heart, right? It's like कि बच्चे तां सिक्खणगे जब टीचर सिक्खणगे, जब टीचर्स तां सिक्खणगे जब पूरा दी एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट सिक्खेगा। सो ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਿੱਖਣ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਹੈ ਮਜ਼ਾ, ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਚੱਕਦੇ ਰਹਿਣ, ਹੈ ਨਾ?
Okay.
Like our education or the learning doesn't end. It anyway doesn't end. So how might we just make it more commonplace, है ना, कि यार सारे सिख रहे ने,
Okay.
है ना? So and that is where कि ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਸਿੱਖੀਏ, because to learn something we believe ਕਿ ਇੱਕ supportive community ਹੋਵੇ ਨਾਲ, ਤੇ ਉਹ ਬੜਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਤੇ and then ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਹੋਈਏ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਕਿ common purpose ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਸਿੱਖਣ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਰਹੇ। Like when you enable somebody else, right, when you create that mahal, in several classrooms, in several schools, it's an act of leadership.
Absolutely,
itself, right?
Absolutely.
Because you are trying to get the best, from people, right? You are ensuring that that teacher, who has huge potential, inside her, is able to do her best. Because if she does it, that is when those kids in her classroom, she'll be able to ensure that they realize their full potential.
Yeah.
Right? So when you are creating an environment so that the teachers and the students are living up to their full potential, you are learning very key leadership skills.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Before we start, I just want to acknowledge the first of its kind, the fellowship that you have introduced for Punjab. I personally am very attached to the roots, and it's always been my dream to do something for Punjab. And I think through the show as well, we try to raise the level of awareness for the youth of Punjab. So I want to thank, I think I speak on the behalf of a lot of youth from Punjab. Thank you for whatever you have been doing, and very excited to speak about that in the show today. So welcome, sir, first of all.
Thank you so much, Manik and Ayush. I think it's great to be here, and apologies that it took some time for us to schedule this one.
As I think good things take time.
So good to be here. Thank you.
So thank you so much. Very kind of you. So let's start from who you are as a person, then we dwell into what do you do. So sir, tell us about yourself. Plus, so wanted to again put it out here. You have been managing Sanjhi Sikhiya and also having a full-time job. So I personally know how difficult it is. So tell us all about that.
I think you started with a very difficult one. Who am I as a person? I've been maybe asking myself as well that question. But I think if I have to say it in a like one word, I would say I've been a very curious person generally, and if I even look back all the different kinds of things that I've been doing, I think my curiosity has been driving me to do different kinds of things. So, and it continues to, and I think that's what probably keeps me like alive and going, and because there's always something I'm curious about, and like if things are going very well, then I'm like, what is it that is like, why they are going well, and what are we doing right, and if things are not going well, then again let's understand like what's coming in the way. So that, and I feel like if I like now at this age probably I'm able to understand, and I would say appreciate the importance of growing up years, and then importance of family, right? Like when they are always there, and when you are with them, and I think you almost take it for granted, right? कि अपने ही थे ने मतलब कर दे, but as I'm sort of learning more and getting to know about, say, many other families, and what many people are going through in the world today, I think it's only made me more grateful to my own family for uh, for believing in me, for being there unconditionally. And I think because the kind of love and affection and all of those, that rootedness that I get from here, I think maybe drives me to do many things, and many risky things, I would say, because there is this thing, कि वो हैगे ने,
safety net है,
वो हैगे ने,
social.
and then की होएगा ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा. So yeah, I would say those growing up years have been very have played a very fundamental role in who I am right now.
This morning I was thinking कि ਆਪਾਂ ਕਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ I am not going to change myself for you. So I was thinking कि okay, if you can change for someone else, so I was thinking कि you can change a lot of things, you can be a better person, but जो core belief system, जो core value system ਹੁੰਦਾ है ना, you can't change that. I think ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਦਾ ਜੋ I think ਉਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ I'm not sure but ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਫਿਤਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੇ. So I was thinking on these lines ਕਿ ਜੋ ਆਪਣਾ core value system ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, it's developed in our first let's say 10-12 ਜੋ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੱਚਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਹੈ, ਜਦੋਂ ਵਾਇਰਿੰਗ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਦੀ, while you are growing up, maybe adolescence and then your teenage years. I think that's the time when you develop your the belief system and the core values, and I think that does not change. So I was just thinking, going back ki, as you was showing your gratitude to your family, तो मैं भी यही सोच रहा थी, okay, what did I get from my hometown, what did I get from my family. So it's the values and the belief system that I have.
बिल्कुल, but on that note, see, some beliefs can be useful,
okay,
but some can also come in your way,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think it's important to be aware, what those beliefs are, and do I, like, do they still serve me, right?
Is it hindering my growth?
Or are they coming in the way? So I think I would not say that we can't change. I think we of course can change those beliefs, and I would say we probably should keep questioning, because as we are growing, as more and more things are happening in our lives, as our worldview is expanding, as we are getting more exposure, we learn new things, and yeah, I think from even so I did my school in Agra, and then I went to Pune and Bombay and all of that. It was a new world. I think I actually changed some beliefs. नहीं यार, मतलब के सारे बंदे जेड़े who have say bad habits and बंदे माड़े नहीं होंदे है ना, मतलब, but I think this was probably a belief कि यार वो बंदा ही माड़ा है ना, जिदी आदतां खराब ने वो बंदा भी माड़ा है. But then slowly and gradually I was like, नहीं यार वो आदत माड़ी है ना, बंदा माड़ा नहीं हैगा.
I'll tell you something. 3-4 दिन पहला with a friend I was speaking about the prisons and the correction systems. जो says like comparing US च किਵੇਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ है, they call it the correction centers, they don't call it jail or prisons, and I was thinking India च किਵੇਂ है. ਤਾਂ I put forward this question to my friend कि okay, कोई अगर criminal है, do you see that, like do you define that person with that crime, or can you separate the crime with the human? So that was the question, and I think it's like you answered कि किसी की आदत माड़ी है, बंदा नहीं माड़ा. It's the like बंदा is different, आदत और ये आदत ज़रूर माड़ी है, but I think वो तो बदल सकती है, but can't define, वो मतलब चिपकाना नहीं उस बंदे नाल. They are two separate entities हैं.
बिल्कुल, and see the same with religion as well, no? Like we often don't separate the religion and the actors of that religion, right?
Yeah.
Oh, then we paint everybody of that religion with the same brush, है ना, सारी इदां दे ने. But नहीं यार, मतलब religion has its own place, and it's that person who is doing whatever that person is doing. So yeah.
As much as I would love to speak about this, but let's go to what do you do. सांझी सिक्खिया, मैंने लगता है एक शब्द, ये जो 2 शब्द है वैसे ही बहुत सोने हैं, एंड सो मैं की परसीव करदा सांझी सिक्खिया तो कि ये ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਮੋਨੋਪਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ. ਅਤੇ ਇਰਰਿਸਪੈਕਟਿਵ ਆਫ ਦ ਰਿਸੋਰਸਿਸ ਜੋ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੋਣ, everyone has the right to access quality education. In my perception of the two words Sanjhi Sikhiya, but I want to understand from you, sir, ki ish naam de piche, like, you know, what's the thought, and if you can also tell us what does Sanjhi Sikhiya do, what's the objective, like all of it.
Yeah. So, see what brought our team together was this, I would say, common love for Punjab, right?
Right.
ਕਿ ਇਸ ਥਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਮਤਲਬ ਐਂਡ ਵਾਟ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਗੋਇੰਗ ਥਰੂ, this is not what it should be, it deserves better, right? So I would say this collective of young people which came together, okay, we will transform Punjab into a land of hope, courage and possibilities, and with this very long term commitment to this land and to the people of this land, okay, we are now here, like we will do whatever it takes to make it better, right? And we believe for any society, right, to grow and to get better, like learning is at its heart, right? It's like, you know, कि बच्चे तां सिक्खणगे जब टीचर सिक्खणगे, जब टीचर्स तां सिक्खणगे जब पूरा, you know, the education department सिखेगा. सो ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਿੱਖਣ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਹੈ ਮਜ਼ਾ, ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਚੱਕਦੇ ਰਹਿਣ, ਹੈ ਨਾ?
Okay.
Like our education or you know, the learning doesn't end. It anyway doesn't end. So how might we just make it more commonplace, है ना, कि यार सारे सिख रहे ने,
okay,
है ना? So and that is where कि ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਸਿੱਖੀਏ, because to learn something we believe ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਨਾ ਇੱਕ supportive community ਹੋਵੇ ਨਾਲ, ਤੇ ਉਹ ਬੜਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. ਤੇ and then ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਹੋਈਏ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਕਿ common purpose ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਸਿੱਖਣ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਰਹਿਣ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ, ਲਾਈਕ ਯੂ ਸੈਡ, ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਇੱਕ ਦੀ ਰਿਸਪੌਂਸਿਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ, ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਉਹ ਟੀਚਰ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹ ਪੇਰੈਂਟ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਉਹ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਐਲੂਮਨਾਈ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ. ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਕਿ ਬਿਲੀਫ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਕਿ all of us have a certain role to play, है ना? And it is best that we understand that role.
A collective responsibility.
What we have to do, what that person has to do. Let's understand that, and we, you know, so that we can work towards it and then grow together in that process. So that's how Sanjhi Sikhiya, you know, really happened. And ਹੁਣ ਲਗਭਗ I would say 3.5 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਨੇ, you know, officially when we sort of began on this journey, and I think it's been very promising to see ਕਿ ਸਿਰਫ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਟੀਮ ਜਿਸਨੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ, ਇੰਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਯੰਗਸਟਰਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਇੰਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਟੀਚਰਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਇੰਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਰਪੰਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਇੰਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਫੀਸ਼ੀਅਲਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, who are, you know, whose heart also you know, cares as much for the children, right? So I think if there's so many people who care for what, you know, that children need to learn, then how do we just make sure that these people who care about it come together and collaborate with each other to work towards that common purpose? So I think it's been very, I would say, very fortunate, you know, to be able to do what we are doing.
You know, I love the last part of this when you said ki you are fortunate that you can take up your responsibility for the community. बहुत बार ना मैं सुनता कि नहीं ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਾ give back ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ society ਨੂੰ. ਮੇਰੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ it's not giving back. Giving back is like an act of charity. You're not doing charity work. You are taking your responsibility. ਉਹ already ਤੁਹਾਡੀ responsibility ਹੈ. That I believe कि चलो you can only take it मतलब you can only take it wholeheartedly, you know, can devote so much time if you are privileged or if you are fortunate enough, like, you know, you have the resources to take your responsibility for the community.
बिल्कुल. and also see ਅਸੀਂ ਕੌਣ ਹੈਗੇ ਨਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੱਸਣਗੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਟੀਚਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ 20 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ 30 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਮਤਲਬ who are we to tell anything, right? There's no basis that we have. But what is important is ke how do we create an environment where everybody can like flourish, like the teacher can flourish, and if the teacher will flourish, children will automatically flourish, right? So I think it's more of creating that right kind of atmosphere, and the same goes in a classroom as well,
of course,
right? You again, instead of teacher in that mode of telling always कि मैं संगी ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਹੈ, it has its place, there is knowledge sharing which has to happen, but not looking at ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਬੱਚੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਤੋਂ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ,
of course,
ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ. Child is learning every day, right? So there is a lot of knowledge that child also has, right? So giving that its acknowledging it, giving that its due importance, and then like creating that atmosphere. So see, it's not very different, like the core principles are not very different. The way we want to see a classroom to be, if the teacher is also learning in that manner, like then automatically it will percolate to the school, to the classrooms.
What you said initially ki like when you was explaining कि सांझी सिक्ख्या ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ I think corporates ਬੜਾ ਇਹ use ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ when someone asks okay what is culture, they say culture is how we do things around here. And when you were saying कि how everyone can be a learner in the ecosystem, ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ okay like what do I get from this is कि how learning can be a culture in the ecosystem. कि ਕਿਵੇਂ like सिर्फ मेरे टीचर ही मैंने नहीं पढ़ा रहे, आई एम ऑल्सो लाइक maybe they get something out of me as well, and they learn like वही lifelong learner किमें बनना है. So I was telling about कि मेरा perception की about सांझी सिक्ख्या, and like I was talking about culture कि how we can create the culture of learnings, and not only कि मैं ही टीचर तो सीखा, but how the teacher can also maybe learn from my from me. So that's what I think about Sanjhi Sikhiya, and about how we can cultivate the culture of learnings.
बिल्कुल,
right,
बिल्कुल. and see हर किसी ਦਾ ਵੱਖਰਾ ਵੱਖਰਾ context ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ,
okay,
right? ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ life experiences ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, and that's the same for a child as well, right? There are different family scenarios. So when those different say 40 kids coming into the classroom with different contexts, and if as a teacher, if I am aware of those contexts, and if I leverage their existing like knowledge to cover a topic that I want to cover, right, then the child sees the topic to be very relevant in their day-to-day life, right? If we just start away like ABC, right, which has been the normal way of teaching, right? But if say we start with a story, right, and we share a story with the child, and then we break down the story, right, because then the child has the why. Okay, I like the story, I want to read the story, and to read the story I need to know what are the alphabets, and then so the why is very clear, right, for the child. So I think the same goes for like anyone else who's learning, right? So if we just create that why very strong, then the learner is motivated, right? Then half the job is done. If your students are motivated to pursue a particular topic, right, like you're home, right? So I agree with you that it's about that culture, what kind of culture I have created in my classroom, right? And that has a big influence on the learning outcomes of the child.
When I was reading about Sanjhi Sikhiya, तो मैं पढ़ा था कि SCL बारे भी I think it's called social and emotional learning, right? ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ, and I think this is very relevant कि teacher ਨੂੰ how they can maybe pick up the context, and as you said कि leverage किਵੇਂ कर सकते हैं, because again if there are 30 different children in a class, it means कि 30 different life experiences, 30 different stories, at least एक story हर किसी को है. And I think वो कहते हैं ना कि बच्चे तो भी तुसी बहुत कुछ सीख सकते हो. I think we have a lot of, I think simplicity, honesty, ये सब चीज़ें था we have to go back to being a child and
Yeah.
going back to all these
Yeah.
activities and all these values. So that's what I think.
Yeah, bilkul. I think just when entering into a classroom, right? I think just we have some humility, right? I know something, but they also know something, right? So I think that was unnai kafi hai, right? And then from there we will together create new knowledge. We will together discover something. And I remember when I used to be in Bihar, right? उत्थे एक school च काम करदा सी मैं, and when I remember very vividly, there was this topic of like first aid, right? In the science textbook, I forgot which class that was. And over there were certain examples, first aid kit and all of that. And here were my students who were coming from like very far off villages in Bihar, and I was seeing, this is not resonating, right? And then I just asked them, when when say something happens back home, like what do you do? And then the first aid that they were using, I was blown away, right? Oh, we could use this also, we could use that also, rather than just what's written in the textbook. So we were able to create so much more new knowledge that way.
This मतलब peer to peer learning and cohort learning जो एक model है, I think this is exactly that's needed right now. And I from what I understand about the fellowship, and we are going to talk about that as well, it is a cohort based learning model.
Right.
And sir, मेरी एक observation है about you. You are someone who does not believe in this thing कि you can be. So I'll tell you, when you were talking about how we can make the education system better, right? And हुने भी तुसी while you were talking क्योंकि textbook च लिखा है, but how we can do things differently. तो एक इंसान होता है जो कहता है कि आई वांट टू बी द बेस्ट, बट बेस्ट दा मतलब है कि हाँ जी बस तुसी हुन सेटल हो गए, आई एम द बेस्ट. बट दिस मेंटालिटी ऑफ बीइंग अ स्टूडेंट कि ओके मे बी आई हैव अचीव्ड समथिंग, बट there's always something that I can do that will make me better and maybe the people around me better. So that's my observation about you. You are a learner, you are a curious person, and you are someone who doesn't believe in settling down कि हाँ हुन मतलब हुन मैं बन गया कुछ. You are always someone कि हाँ नहीं, I can still go somewhere from here.
Right, and it's also very boring, no? Yes. मनु हुन सब आंदा है ना? सब आंदा है तो
very dangerous as well. चलो boring ता है, very dangerous.
तो बैठ जाओ हुन, है ना? कार बैठ जाओ, फिर कुछ नहीं करना. But I think I agree. Always having that student hat, student pug all the time, and and I think then you are always in that zone of. And then that there is something to learn from everybody. Yeah. Right? Every conversation, like all my conversations with any, if I'm going in an auto, if I'm going in a cab, just try, it's an opportunity to learn something about someone's experience who maybe I don't interact on a daily basis, right? And there's something I would learn. And it's interesting, it's election time and elections are happening today. So one of my main, I would say, most reliable source of who's gonna win are the cab drivers.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦਾ report card ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, don't ask the public, ask the auto drivers. ਕੀ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਸਰਕਾਰ. They will tell you like as it is.
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ. Yeah. And it's always been true actually, whatever they've said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell us about the fellowship now. I think it's first of its kind again, and very interesting. So we want you to share that.
Right. See, the whole idea was like, if we want to see Punjab transform into a land of hope, courage, possibilities, many things have to happen in Punjab, right? Many initiatives have to be taken. Punjab is plaguing on several fronts right now, not just education, where we are focusing right now. So, and if that has to happen, we need people, right? People who think in that way, who are committed, who love this place, and who also have the required skills, competencies, right, to be able to do that. And we need lots of them, lots of such people, right? And and that's why this program there, that can we create a platform where young people from different parts of Punjab, different parts of the country, different parts of the globe, like, who have a desire to make a difference, who have this keenness to contribute and make, and do their bit for Punjab's development, can we get them together, right? Because see, in our travels across Punjab, we could see that there's so many young people who are ਉਹ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ 'ਚ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨ 'ਚ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ. And the sad part is that most of them are often discouraged. Discouraged by their own family, discouraged by their peer circle, ਲੱਗਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਾਵਰਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਪਿਆ ਹੈ, and that's what they hear, right? So that's why it's important to create a community, right? Community of such young people who think in that way, right? Because that itself is so motivating. यार मैं कल्ला नहीं हैगा, right? बतेरे होर लोग ने who are aligned to that purpose, right? Who want to live a meaningful life and who want to make a difference over here, right? So Punjab Youth Leaders Program is actually that platform, for all such young people who want to, live a life of public service and contribute to Punjab's development, to come together for a period of 2 years. And in these 2 years, while they make change happen on the ground, they work towards improving the way learning is happening in government primary schools. And they do it by enabling leadership of others, enabling leadership of teachers, enabling leadership of parents, enabling leadership of the panchayat, the school management committee. So it's like when you enable somebody else, right? When you create that mahal, in several classrooms, in several schools, it's an act of leadership itself, right?
Absolutely.
Because you are trying to get the best, from people, right? You are ensuring that that teacher, who has huge potential, inside her, is able to do her best. Because if she does it, that is when those kids in her classroom, she'll be able to ensure that they realize their full potential, right? So when you are creating an environment so that the teachers and the students are, living up to their full potential, you are learning very key leadership skills, right? You are facilitating those gatherings, those meetings of teachers and the community members. You are mobilizing resources from the community. You are mobilizing resources from the system, right? You are connecting the dots. You are seeing कि स्कूल च अगर यह काम कराना है तो यह काम मैं किद्दां करावां, है ना? ब्लॉक डेवलपमेंट ऑफिसर तो पैसे आ सकते ने, कि MLA तो आ सकते ने, या DC को जाना पेगा, कितने जाना पेगा,
किसी CSR फंडिंग आ सकती है,
CSR दी आ सकती है, बिल्कुल. So you are, it's very strategic work, right? You're trying to connect the dots. You are seeing के यार ये जेड़ा system हैगा, right? How do we make this system work? How do we make sure that the different actors in this system are connected, are able to collaborate with each other? So this is the kind of work that these young leaders who join in this program for 2 years do. So this is one part of it, right? And when they do this, of course they are building very key leadership competencies in themselves, but there is also a component where they are discovering their own purpose, right? Because अगर पंजाब च इन्ना कुछ करन दी लोड़ है, what is it that I want to pick up? What is it that I would want to do for the long term, right? So there's a very strong purpose discovery component in the whole program, right? Where people, and it's not like just sort of, theory of how do you discover purpose. They do active experiments, they do innovative projects, and then see कि यार मैं सोचा सी कि ऐ करांगा तो ऐ होएगा, but नहीं, maybe this is not what I'm really interested in. I'm interested in this. So they get that scope to experiment on the ground, and then while doing multiple things, they figure out, okay, this is what speaks to me. I would want to do this for the rest, of my life. So it's a very it's a purpose discovery, curriculum which is there for them.
I love your answer, and I think one of the mottos that you have is कि learning by doing. मैं किते website पे भी पढ़ा सी, and again learning by doing for the fellow and even the जो जेडे बच्चे हैगे ने पढ़ रहे this experiential learning model again very hit right now, and मेरे हिसाब नाल is the need of the hour. बाहर तो already like and even all these companies coming in वो एक term बहुत use कर दिया experiential learning, but I think as of now it has not reached to the roots of Punjab, roots of India. But I think learning by doing is a phenomenal way of making someone understand the why component to see. I think that's the most important part. Right. Ki, someone who has why can endure any how. Why I think is the most important thing. And so now I understand ki intellectual skills चाहिए एक fellow, no? But technically like if we come to a technical part की minimum age, qualification वो की है, and how does like the job of a fellow look like? So if you can explain in very simple words, technical part की है ना कि किन्ने पढ़े होने चाहिए है, कि residence कित्थे होनी चाहिए, domicile कोई भी like any technicality, and job description या a day in life of a fellow. And I know कि we'll obviously attach the website because I know ये सब होते भी है, but if you can tell us on the podcast.
बिल्कुल, it's very simple actually. See, of course minimum graduation is the only criteria actually. Okay. If you have that, and then anyone who's below 35 can apply, right? And of course there is if you have prior leadership experience, if you have demonstrated your leadership qualities in the past, whether in your college or if you're working somewhere at your workplace, wherever, right? So it's always an added advantage. And people who have worked in education as a field, right? While it's not a mandatory requirement, because many people have not had the opportunity to do that, but if that is there, I'm just saying what is a preference, right? So that also helps. काफ़ी सारे लोग पूछते हैं कि यार पंजाबी कितनी इम्पोर्टेंट है,
पंजाबी बोलनी पढ़नी लिखनी
समझनी आई वुड से, क्योंकि जब ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫੀਲਡ 'ਚ ਜਾਓ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਸੋ ਆਰ ਯੂ ਏਬਲ ਟੂ ਮੇਕ ਸੈਂਸ,
ਕੰਪਰੀਹੈਂਡ ਕੀ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ,
ਤੇ ਇਹ ਸਵਾਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਵਾਲਾ. ਸੋ ਅਗੇਨ अगर आंदी है तो मतलब नथिंग लाइक इट है ना, इट विल ऑलवेज हेल्प, नो डाउट्स अबाउट इट. बट वी हैव एनफ एग्जाम्पल्स नाउ इन आवर 3 cohorts कि जिन्होंने हिंदी आंदी सी तो हौले हौले वो डिज़ायर सीगा कि यार मैं पंजाबी सिखा, एंड देन दे द cohort, rest of the cohort members from Punjab helped them, and by visiting the field every day and listening to them, so many of them have not just learned how to understand Punjabi but also can read now, who had no exposure to Punjabi. So that's on the language part.
I think हिंदी ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿੱਖਣੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਦੇ ਬੜੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਨੇਪਾਲ ਦੇ ਦੋਸਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿਖਾਤੀ in like a span of 1 year. So I think ਹਿੰਦੀ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਇੰਨਾ ਔਖਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ.
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ. So that's on who can like apply, right? And they can be anywhere. Right? They can be anywhere in the world actually.
But do they have to come to the like the district?
Yeah, so they have to come to Punjab, of course. They have to have that the willingness to relocate from wherever they are right now to Punjab. Right now we have 3 districts: Fatehgarh Sahib, Patiala and Ropar. We will be adding 1 or 2 more districts in this, for this 4th cohort. So this new cohort which will come, the 4th one, will be placed in this new district, right? So they definitely, of course, have to relocate to Punjab and then work with a set of schools that will be allocated to them. So that's on who can apply, right? Now how does their day look like, right? So that's very fascinating actually. I keep telling everybody, I think the most exciting role in our entire organization is that of a young leader who's on the ground.
The fellow.
Yeah, because see, they are the ones who are meeting new people every day, who are interacting like different kinds of people every day, and they are the ones who are facing a lot of challenges also every day, right? It's this work that we do is not easy, right? But that's the point. That is why this program in the first place. Had it been easy, then ਸਾਡੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਨਾ.
Of course.
So I think it is very tough. It is very difficult. I'm not discouraging,
Yeah.
but I think people with that orientation ki yes, we want to face challenges, and I think ਅਗਰ as ਮਤਲਬ young age ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ challenges ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ face ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਈਏ, ਜਿਹੜੇ setbacks life 'ਚ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ face ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਈਏ. I feel it's a very important life skill, right? How do you deal with failures? How do you come back when you're going to a school and like 5 times in a row, you know, the teacher did not listen to you, and then you know in fact started questioning you.
Yeah.
That ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਪਏ ਹੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਲਾਈਫ you know waste ਕਰਦੇ ਪਏ ਹੋ, you know, like these kind of things also you listen.
Of course.
So how do you keep yourself motivated when all of this is happening, right? So I feel this program really makes you very strong, right? Because setbacks are part of life, right? Failures are part of life. I think the sooner we learn how to look at them as opportunities for learning, as something that we need to know how to, you know, deal with, I think the better placed we are to live like our, you know, life. So yes, they like 6 days a week is the, you know, they work, and so 5 out of them they are on the field.
Okay.
Right. The first half is entirely they are in their respective schools where they work with. So they are either working, speaking, meeting with teachers, and trying to understand what are the needs of that particular school and what needs to be done, and they are also meeting with the community people, right?
Okay.
The parents ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਉਸ ਸਕੂਲ 'ਚ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਰਸਪੈਕਟਿਵ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਕੀ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਕੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਕੂਲ 'ਚ ਕੀ ਹੋਏ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੰਚਾਇਤ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਪਿੰਡ ਦੀ, ਉਹਦੇ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਏਜੰਡਾ 'ਚ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਹੈ? ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਅਸੀਂ ਯੂ ਨੋ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਪਿੰਡ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਕੂਲ ਹੈ ਪਿੰਡ ਦਾ ਮਾਣ ਬਣੇ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਕਿ ਉਹ ਸਕੂਲ ਪਿੰਡ ਦੀ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਇੰਸਟੀਟਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਬਣੇ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਾਏ, ਹੈ ਨਾ. when people are thinking, okay, you know, if we have to develop this village, right, can school be the first thing they think about, right? So ਆਪਾਂ priority list ਵਿੱਚ ਉੱਤੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਏਗਾ ਉਹ ਇਹ young leaders ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, right?
Sir, I know ਕਿ you have a story to share. ਇੱਕ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫਤਿਹਗੜ੍ਹ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਕੂਲ Rai Majra, I think, I don't know the exact pronunciation. But if you can tell us about it, kyori ki story hai?
Yeah, so I think Rai Majra was actually in the very beginning, I would say almost 3 years ago when the first thing. Now I'm actually very proud ke ਉਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਹੁਣ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 200 ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਨੇ, right, across 3 districts. And see, the point is,
but the first is always special.
yeah bilkul. So see, it's like this. Here was a school which was very distant from its community.
Okay.
Distant not in terms of the location. Of course, every pind da primary school pind vich hi hota hai, but distant in terms of the relationships, right? Okay. And the involvement. Ke ਪਿੰਡ ਦੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਲੋਕ ਸਕੂਲ 'ਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਬਾਰੇ, ਉਹ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ. ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੀ ਸਕੂਲ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਵਿਚ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਮੈਂਡੇਟ ਆਫ ਰਾਈਟ ਟੂ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਸੋ ਉਹ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ,
ਆਫ ਕੋਰਸ.
ਸੋ all of these things are usually not happening, right? So and when you start seeing ke, you know, you have a group together which has, of course, teacher and the parents and the panchayat and the school management committee, some alumni of the school, right, some influential people. You have a group together who's now thinking about the vision of that school. ਕਹਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ 3 ਸਾਲ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਸਕੂਲ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਹੁਣ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਸਮਝਾ ਗਿਆ, ਹੁਣੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਪੂਰਾ ਉਹ ਨੀਡਸ ਅਸੈਸਮੈਂਟ, ਪੂਰਾ ਡੇਟਾ ਕਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਯੰਗ ਲੀਡਰਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਅਤੇ ਹਲੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਏਗਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਪਏਗਾ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਕੁਝ ਇੱਕ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਪਲਾਨ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਪਏਗਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ. ਉਹ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਕੀ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਲਿਖ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਐਕਟੀਵਿਟੀ. ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਕੌਣ? ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਹਾਂ. ਅਗਰ ਇਹ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਹੈ, ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਅਗਰ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਰਿਸਪੌਂਸਿਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਰਹਿਣੀ ਪਏਗੀ. ਸੋ ਈਚ ਵਨ ਸੇਜ਼ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ, ਮੈਂ ਬਾਉਂਡਰੀ ਵਾਲ ਬਣਾ ਦਿਆਂਗਾ, ਮੈਂ LED ਡੋਨੇਟ ਕਰ ਦਿਆਂਗਾ. ਦ ਟੀਚਰ ਵੁੱਡ ਆਲਸੋ ਸੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ more frequent parent teacher meetings करावांगा.
सारे resources pool हो रहे एक जगह.
So everybody, बिल्कुल everybody, someone is giving financial resources, someone is giving in kind support, someone is giving time.
Of course, time investment also.
कोई कहता है कि जब छुट्टी का टाइम होगा तो मैं गेट पे आ जाया करूँगा ताकि safely बच्चे कर जाए. So all of them take that responsibility and then also timeline. So पूरा एक ਆਪਾਂ ਡਾਕੂਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਪੇਪਰ ਤੇ, ਉਸਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਕੂਲ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਪਲਾਨ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ.
ਓਕੇ,
ਕਿ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੈ ਜਾਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹ ਸਕੂਲ ਦਾ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਪਲਾਨ.
ਰਾਈਟ.
So yeah, I think it's a very powerful process. In our sort of technical terms we call it ग्राम ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਸਭਾ.
ਓਕੇ,
ਕਿ ਪੂਰਾ ਗ੍ਰਾਮ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਗ੍ਰਾਮ ਸਭਾ ਤੇ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਹੀ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ, ਬਸ ਇਹ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਕੋਰ ਪਰਪਸ ਹੈ ਇਹਦਾ. So yeah, so this is like that story, and then there are many such stories where we have seen that this coming together for a common purpose has been so powerful. And by the way, ਇਹ ਕੁਝ ਨਵਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ. Often when we go to these schools and we meet say 70-year-old or 80-year-old people from that village ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਸੀ ਸਕੂਲ 'ਚ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਨੇ.
ਓਕੇ,
ਉਹ ਕਹਾਣੀ ਸੁਣਾਉਣਗੇ, ਯਾਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੀ ਸੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਜਿਹੜਾ the whole system of Sath, right, in villages was exactly that, where the people are just sitting together and discussing ਕਿ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ, ਕੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਜੋ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਨਾ I would say ਆਪਾਂ ਭੁੱਲ ਗਏ ਹਾਂ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਥੋੜੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਟੁੱਟ ਗਏ ਹਾਂ.
I know where you're going, ਤੇ ਉਹੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਵੈਸੇ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਸੀਗਾ, ਬਟ I know where are you going.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
ਨੌਜਵਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਾਥ, I wanted to ask you about that, ਕਿ ਉਹ ਹੈ ਕੀ. I read about it on the website, so what's that?
So see, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇਹ ਜੋੜਨ ਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ. ਰਾਈਟ. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਭੁੱਲ ਗਏ ਹਾਂ, ਟੁੱਟ ਗਏ ਹਾਂ. ਹਾਊ ਡੂ ਵੀ ਗੈਟ ਪੀਪਲ ਟੂਗੇਦਰ.
ਸਾਂਝ, ਇਟਸ ਅਬਾਊਟ ਸਾਂਝ.
ਰਾਈਟ, ਬਿਲਕੁਲ. ਐਂਡ ਦ ਸੇਮ ਵਿਦ ਐਟ PYLP, ਰਾਈਟ. ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੰਮ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਬਟ ਹਾਊ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ.
ਓਕੇ,
ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਨਾਓ ਇਟਸ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ ਲਾਈਕ ਅ 40 member strong team, right?
wow.
ਕਿ spread across these 3 districts, and ਹੁਣ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਟੇਟ ਤੇ we have a team ਜਿਹੜੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਸੈਕਟਰੀ ਨਾਲ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਲੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਦ ਪੀਪਲ ਲੁਕਿੰਗ ਐਟ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਫਰੋਮ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਲੈਂਸ. ਕੋਈ ਸਟੇਟ ਤੋਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ ਤੋਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਸਕੂਲ 'ਤੇ ਦੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ. ਸਾਰੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਪਰਸਪੈਕਟਿਵ ਤੋਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, which I think is important to ਅਗਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਿਸਟਮਸ ਚੇਂਜ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਰਾਈਟ. ਸੋ again coming back to Sath, I think this idea of collective can happen anywhere, right? It can happen at a school level, it can happen at a cluster level ਜਿੱਥੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਟੀਚਰਸ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ. ਐਂਡ ਇਮੈਜਿਨ ਈਵਨ ਐਟ ਅ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ ਲੈਵਲ, ਰਾਈਟ. ਕਿ ਅਗਰ ਪਟਿਆਲੇ ਦਾ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਦੇਵਾਂ, ਇੰਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੰਸਟੀਟਿਊਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀਜ਼ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਪੀਪਲ ਵਿਦ ਫਰੋਮ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਬੈਕਗਰਾਊਂਡ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ. there's so many people. And imagine what can happen if everybody starts talking about quality education, right?
Of course.
वो कहते ना कि जब भी कुछ long term change लियाना है, तो अगर सारे बंदे वो भावें किसी भी background तो होवन, अगर वो एक कोई मुद्दे ते गल कर रहे हैं ना, then that thing becomes a priority and it happens.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think we're just hoping that we have too many people. Or maybe just enough people who are talking about it, and then the ripple effect will happen, and then we can hope to see this change that we want to see.
Absolutely. And I think public policy जो ड्राइव की करती है, वो करती है पब्लिक इमोशंस या पब्लिक द सेंटिमेंट की है, वो एट द एंड इवेंचुअली पॉलिसी ਨੂੰ ड्राइव करती है. And I think you brilliantly said कि if everyone is talking about education, on the macro level policy has to change. Era political angle है कि they want to please the people, they want to please the public, but I think ideally they should serve the people. And जो public की demand है, the rightful demand है, the policy should change. And as much as I would love to talk about the policy, and we spoke about that as well. Today we are short of time, but I think जो थोड़ी क्यूरियोसिटी है एंड जो थोड़ी विजडम है वो मैं वैसे भी एक एपिसोड 'ਚ कंटेन नहीं कर सकता. So I look forward to another episode with you, sir. But thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the luck for this cohort and all the cohorts that are gonna be. And I seriously think very soon you're gonna be in all the districts of Punjab, and maybe we expand to outside Punjab as well. But so thank you so much for
Inshallah.
your time.
Thank you so much, Manik. It was, I think, thank you for all the questions as well. And I think anyone who's listening, I would just say that anyone like who feels for the children of Punjab, right?
Yeah.
Who feels for the future of Punjab, I think, can come forward and do their bit. Right?
Definitely.
And everybody has something to do. Like there's something that they can do, right? Even if they may not be able to say come here for 2 years, which of course if they can do nothing like it, but if that is not possible, there's still something they can do, and to contribute. And I think like through your platform, if people can feel free to get in touch and ask that how can I contribute, and then we would love to engage many more people. क्या ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
Yeah, I think buddy ਤੁਸੀਂ although I said कि it's the end, but I think average 3 episodes में एक बार ये कहना कि it's a choices, हैरी पॉटर ਦੀ quote है, it's a choices that define who we are far more than our abilities. And ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ कि at any given moment you have a choice to make. तो ਤੁਹਾਡੇ depend ਕਰਦਾ है what's your priority and what choice are you making. So yes sir, ending the episode with this quote. So thank you so much for your time and wishing you all the luck.
Thank you so much. All the best.